আচ্ছা, তো ওখানে বসে পড়বেন না
স্যার? একটুখানি সরে দাঁড়ান। হ্যাঁ, তো
ঠিক আছে। ঠিক আছে, হ্যাঁ।
Good morning to all of you. As you know, we have assembled here for the international conference called eConscious 2021, and which is on revisiting strategies for sustainable development. This is our second eConscious, and online conferencing is going on. You might have listened to that. Here we will have some talks on critical mode. There are 6 speakers today in this session. The first speaker is absent right now, so I will be calling Dr. Kaushik Mukherjee of Physics Department, who will be delivering a lecture on design of all optical logic gates with quantum dot TOA-based TOAD, or TOAD. So I will invite Dr. Kaushik to take the dais.
Good afternoon, the participants, teachers and students. Today I am going to say something about my new research on the design of all optical logic and gate with quantum dot semiconductor optical amplifier based TOAD. I shall explain it later. But before presenting, please.
আচ্ছা, পেছনে আসতে।
Keep quiet. Before presenting, how many of, especially the students, how many of you know or listen the term digital? How many? Raise your hand.
অন্ধকার
Students,
Raise your hand if you are the
digital. How many of you know the term digital? Only this much? I don't think so. I think everyone has listened this digital, because we live in a system of digital environment, because everything we are dealing with now in our present day life, because of your mobile phone, you are dealing with digital systems. And today my lecture or my talk will be on some digital mechanism by which we can do better for our environment also. Because what I have shown you in my slide, that the system is all optical. That is, light will be used to do some mathematics, some calculations in your mobile also and in your computer also. Light will be used, not electrons. So what we are trying to do is to replace electrons by photons, because as we all know that for producing electrical currents, lots of environmental pollutions are happening. So we have to go for alternative source of energy. But in today's communication technology and in today's computer systems, all things are happening with electrical currents. So if we can do
ঠিক আছে
replace electrical circuits with optical circuits, then much environmental pollution and other things can be reduced. So you are now listening about 5G communication system, and even your 4G, some parts are optical, not all electrical, because from your mobile phone to the tower, this communication is done by optical or rather wirelessly, so there is no electron or electrical current is involved. So these type of things when will be developed, then we can reduce much energy consumption and also fossil fuel use, and for betterment of environment, this is very necessary. So before going to the direct topic, I want to say you something about two people. One is George Boole and another is Shannon. So George Boole was a self-taught mathematician who has done pure mathematics, and his what I am saying about him today is that he actually tried to find a mathematical foundation of what human thinks, our thought, what we are thinking, logical thinking. He actually tried to put it in mathematical form. This is the milestone of what today we call digital computation or digital computer or digital system. Is the foundation stone was laid by George Boole, who mathematically represented our thought. Human thought was represented by mathematically by George Boole in his book The Laws of Thought in 1854. And I have used the term mathematicized. This is a wrong term, because when you type this in your computer, it will be underlined by red. But I have did it because I have not find any other term which is proper for this kind of thing. So human thought was mathematicized. I am pronouncing the wrong word, but I cannot do other thing. So human thought can be mathematicized was first given by George Boole in his book The Laws of Thought. And today we know these things as Boolean algebra. In computer classes, in our digital circuit class, in electronics and physics, we read this. Computer systems, in computer you also popular with the terms digital, 0, 1, bits, byte, etc. So today what Boole have done, we know this as Boolean algebra. And in 1937, in his master degree thesis, Shannon did a beautiful work in his master's thesis. At the age of only 22, Shannon, what did he translated Boolean algebra into 0 and 1. So human thought, what Boole have done, he mathematicized the thought, human thinking, human logic. Then what Shannon did, Shannon translated that mathematics into 0 and 1. So human thought, today what we think, what we write, everything is translated into zeros and ones. This is digital. And we all know about, we have all heard digital in our lifetime many times. This is digital. So what we are thinking is translated into just 0 and 1. Everything is translated into 0 and 1 in your computer, in your mobile. Nothing else. Then that code are also converted into your picture or your text, etc. But the computer and mobile only know the language of 0 and 1. So what Boole did in 1854 and then Shannon did 1937 is the foundation of modern information theory and communication system. So next, Boole proposed that we can mathematicize or mathematically represent the human thought by three basic laws: or operation, and operation, and not operation. Okay, and these basic law, these basic operations in logic is translated into electrical circuits by Shannon. So what is or, what is and, what is not, we can see it in the next slide. So suppose this is this blue circle is A, or say truth. A means truth. And suppose there is another variable B. So there are two variables. If you consider two variables A and B, suppose A is red and B is blue, or B is green. Then it may be either blue or either green. Then what is the AND logic? AND logic is the common, yes, common portion of A and B. So that portion is only when the A circle, the white portion of the A circle represents red, the blue portion of the white portion of the blue B circle represents green, but the common portion represents both red and green. So when both are true, then we get AND logic. When both are true, then we get AND logic. And the OR logic, the total thing is blue. That means when A or B is true, then the statement is right. Okay. So that is the OR operation. And not means A is not. A is actually flipped. Truth is flipped to false and false is flipped to truth. So not A means if A is red, then not A will be other than red. So these three logical operations can give you every thought into mathematical operations, and that mathematical operations can be translated into zeros and ones by any digital circuits. Suppose 0 means false, 1 means truth. So that means digital circuits can generate outputs by only true and false, yes or no, off or on. In this way, you can generate any thought you try to consider. It will be translated into ones and zero by digital circuit. But my next slide. My goal is to translate this electrical circuits into optical one. As I have already mentioned that for electrical circuit designs and for electrical operation of the electrical circuits, we need electrical currents, and electrons carries the information. So for generation of electrical currents, we need fossil fuel consumption or coal or other kind of fuels, and lots of pollution may happen, or actually happens. So if we translate these things into optical one, then no such possibility of, or less possibility of pollution is there. So this is a logic gate. I don't go into the details of this. You can see that there is two inputs. This one is capital A and this one is capital B. And if you can see the truth table there, the table there is the operating conditions of the gate, AND gate. So when A, B are two inputs and the output is A and B, not multiplication, it is A and B. So if I say that 0 means true and 1 means, 0 means false and 1 means true, then the output will be like this. When both A and B are 0, that is false, the output will be false. So you have a circuit which have two inputs and one output. When both the inputs are 0, that is false, the output will be false. If any one of the input is false, that is 0, 1 or 1, 0, the output will also be false. The only truth will come when both the inputs are true. This is the logic of AND gate. Okay, when A and B both are true, the output is true. This is the logic of AND. We also think this like this. We say sometimes we say when Praveen and Prakash will come, then I go there. So this is the AND logic. Your thought is converted into electrical or optical circuits, and that circuit actually produces some output which is the manifestation of your thought. And in your roads, the signaling system also works in this way, using this type of logic gates. When which lane will be opened or which lane will be stopped, these are only some switches. And this type of logic gates also can be designed by using some switches. So this stored terahertz optical asymmetric demultiplexer, I don't go into the details of this. This is a switch actually, like this. Your computer, your mobile phone works or designed using switches only, which has two states, on or off, true or false, 0 and 1, nothing else. Your computer, your digital computer, your mobile phones all works with the switches, and that switches are built with transistors. Okay, so my transistor is this quantum dot semiconductor optical amplifier. Which what transistor do? It convert currents. It works with current, and here the optical amplifier works with light. So electrons are replaced by photons, and for this reason, as all we know that light has maximum velocity. No one can go faster than light. So light has maximum velocity. So the speed of these type of circuits are also very high. So next. So what light can do? In this picture I have shown it. These are the laser pulses, pulse of lasers. These pulses are, when the pulses are present, that is true, and when pulses are absent, that is false. See the input, first two are inputs, A and B. So when both the inputs are present, the output is also present. So when both the inputs are true, output is also true. This is the operation, and this is an elementary what I have done. Later it will be extended, and some other things will be included here also. So at last, conclusions. This is the design and simulation results of quantum dot SOI-based AND gate. It is low power consuming, faster operation. We are talking about Mbps speed, but it can operate in terabyte of operating speed. That is 1 lakh times faster than today's computer or systems. And in future I shall do this in detail. So thank you. If you have any questions, you may ask.
Do you have any question? Do you have any question? Hello? কোনো প্রশ্ন আছে? নেই? আমার একটা প্রশ্ন আছে ছোট। কথা বলতে পারি বলছি যে when the is true, but you are saying when it is true,
Both are true.
Both are true. So when the net result is true, when both are true, the net result is true. Is it additive? I mean,
No.
the peak was same as the individual ones.
No, actually, you are talking about this peaks
I mean,
of the
is
pulse.
it amplified or?
It will be amplified. Yes,
Will
it
be
will be
amplified.
amplified.
As far as the peaks were concerned, those were.
No, actually that was given in arbitrary unit. Proper unit is not used. The output will be amplified.
Yeah. And what about the phase?
So actually, the operation
Frequency
involves phase changes also.
Phase changes also.
Phase changes also. And
Phase
that
changes.
phase change is utilized to construct such designs. And gate is designed by using properly maintaining the phase of the two inputs. When the phases are equal, it will generate a high output.
Can we use this in microscopy? Improving our microscope efficiency, magnification?
No, microscopic magnification. Because what I have used is laser pulses. So if you
Confocal
illuminate with your
confocal microscopy uses
laser pulses, then that requires some what we say.
Relay equation or
You cannot use it directly, but some image processing put down your work. In that case, you have to process your image.
Resolution cannot.
No, you have to first convert your image into optical intensities. You have to break up the image. Then you can amplify. Directly it cannot be used.
If you can make phase changes, if you can,
Yes,
if it
actually-
is making amplitude
Yes, yes,
changes,
yes.
then
What you are saying is just the principle of image processing. It can be processed.
It can be applied
Yes.
edge contrast also, I think.
Yes, it can be.
Thank you very much for such an enticing lecture. Next lecture is from Dr. K.R. Naik. She will be talking about thermal plasma technology as a potential sustainable solution for solid waste management. I will invite Dr. K.R. on the dais. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Kia from the Department of Chemistry, and today I'll be giving a very small talk on thermal plasma technology as a potential sustainable solution for solid waste management. This is a part of an ongoing project that CSI is seeing here, right? And just beside my name, you can find another name. Actually, he's a concerned scientist who is dealing with this project. And I'm the one actually who is studying the implications and maybe the challenges and limitations which are coming out of this project. So let me first ask you a question. Okay, my audience is mixed, so I won't be going into the intricate chemical details or technical details. Okay, I'll just love to give a brief overview of the entire process. So what do you think of the waste? What happens to the waste that leaves your house every day in the morning? Okay, so some data is there. According to the World Bank estimates, so some important and interesting data has been presented here. According to the World Bank estimates, 2.1 billion tons of municipal solid waste is generated annually. And not surprisingly, this number is increasing daily. Okay. Unfortunately, 1/3 of it is not disposed properly. Part of it is landfill. Landfill means it is directly dumped into vacant spaces, empty lands, which over time actually leads to leaching of harmful substances in the environment. Another way of dealing with these wastes is the burning of these wastes in presence of air or oxygen. But the problem is, because majority of the waste that we are having today is plastic waste, when you are burning that waste in presence of air or oxygen, you have the evolution of toxic gases like dioxin, which is very harmful. Okay. So currently the need of the hour is that we need a technology which can not only address these waste management, but in the process create a waste to wealth approach. Okay. So one efficient method that is currently a very hot topic of research is the thermal plasma technology, in short TPT. What happens here? As you can understand from the name, we have taken plasma. Okay, the plasma has extremely high temperature which can break down any form of waste, whether it is organic or inorganic, into its constituent elements. There is a limited supply of air or oxygen in the reactor, and in that limited supply of oxygen, the constituent elements, preferably carbon, gets converted to carbon monoxide, and the resultant gases that comes out of the chamber is mainly syngas or synthetic gas, which is predominantly a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen, and it can be used as a fuel. Coming to inorganic wastes, we can't generate syngas from these inorganic wastes, but what we can do is, at this high temperature of plasma, these inorganic wastes can be converted to a slag or vitrified slag type of material, which can be used for making low-grade construction materials. So, before moving into the details, let us know what is plasma. of three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. Likewise, plasma is considered as a fourth state of matter, but under ordinary conditions of temperature and pressure, we do not encounter plasma. Plasma is formed when atoms or ions are broken down to its constituent ions when you electrify a gas or when you heat it with a very high temperature. So plasma gasification is actually a thermal process in which the waste that you have, it is exposed to very high temperature of the order of 2000 to 14,000 degrees centigrade. Plasma will be electrically neutral, but it will be a mixture of ions and electrons. So these are the multiple stages that we have in a thermal plasma technology reactor. The first step is the pre-treatment of the garbage that we have collected. First, you have to sort it and shred it according to the type, whether it's organic and inorganic, and then it is fed to the plasma reactor. In the plasma reactor is generally powered by electricity, and the plasma reactor is having some limited supply of air. At this high temperature of plasma, the organic waste that is converted into crude syngas, which I just talked about, which is predominantly a mixture of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. The inorganic waste that is actually poured out of the plasma reactor through another opening in the form of a vitrified slag, which on cooling hardens and it can be used for construction materials. Now the crude syngas which is coming out from the reactor, it is not clean. It has carbon particulate matter and thus needs to be cleaned before any further use. It is actually passed through a water scrubber where it is cleaned and it can then be used as a fuel. Another method is, because the crude syngas is coming out of the plasma reactor is itself at a very high temperature, the syngas will also be at a very high temperature. What we do, we use a heat exchange method by means of which water can be converted into steam, and this steam can now be used to rotate steam turbines, thus in the process generating even more power. Okay, so these are actually briefly the stages which are involved in a thermal plasma technology reactor. The main component of concern in this thermal plasma technology is obviously the generation of plasma or the plasma source. In order to generate this plasma source, we have a plasma torch. So the plasma reactor, which you have just seen in the previous slide, that reactor can have one or more than one plasma torches. This torch can be either powered by electricity or through radio frequency. What happens, an electric arc is produced between the two electrodes, that is the cathode and the anode. There is a gap actually between the cathode and the anode, and when you are actually powering through electricity or radio frequency, an arc is produced. A carrier gas which is actually flowing through that gap, it gets ionized to form the plasma. The typical components of any plasma torch are these: electrodes, cathode, that is which is connected to the negative terminal, the anode, the positively charged electrode. We have a gas flow mechanism also, because it is very important to maintain a steady velocity of the carrier gas which actually gets ionized. And the entire thing is housed in an enclosure which is the body. So whatever you are seeing here, this plasma torch, this is actually the device or the main device which is responsible for generating the plasma. So far so good. We have the plasma torch, and the plasma torch actually generates very high temperature which can handle any kind of waste. But like all other technology, it does come with its own share of challenges and limitations. The main limitation that most of the authors and those who are actually working practically in this field, they have encountered is that it is very difficult to maintain a durable plasma. Durable plasma means that the volume and the arc length that should not change over time. Another problem is that generally people prefer to use air as a carrier gas. You should actually use an inert gas like nitrogen or argon, but because air is cheap, in order to make the process economical, companies are actually using air. Now at this high temperature of plasma, what happens? This air reacts with the electrode materials, even though it is cardboard, and actually corrodes the cardboard materials. So frequently there is a need to replace the electrodes, thus making it technically very cumbersome. So the main aim of this work, actually what I plan to do is go through all such reports and compile all those issues and address them so that we can actually make this TPK a feasible solution for solid waste management. The current scenario of these type of reactors are that they are very few in number. Actually, globally, if you look at the numbers, which are the number of plasma reactors which are now functional or they are operating with their full potential, they are actually very few because you have lot of technical limitations and these cost factors are also there. Okay. So currently, CSIR CMBI has installed a pilot plant for this municipal solid waste management with a capacity of 25 kg per hour. Okay, research is still under process, but we are actually trying our best to utilize the byproducts. Whatever gas is created, that is directly sent to the hostel and for cooking purposes, they have completely replaced all LPG cylinders and they are using this gas. And whatever slag they are getting, they are actually converting it into pellets, chips and bricks, and they are using it for like low-grade construction works like sidewalks and pavements. And work is still under process because till now scientists have not been able to create a durable plastic. So because it is a hot topic of research, and once this thing actually settles down, once we can create a stable source of plasma, once we can actually identify the proper electrode materials which will not corrode with time, it is hopeful that this will be a sustainable method for solid waste management in the future. Thank you. Any questions?
Actually, I have seen in your slide there is a broken iron. Broken iron is what we do.
Actually, it's not broken. Actually, what happens whenever you are electrifying a gas or whenever you are heating it to a very high temperature, the valence electrons of that element actually they are ejected out. And what happens? You are left with a positively charged core and the electrons. Okay, that they are just using that carbon.
Two type of iron.
Yeah, that mixture. Overall, it is electrically neutral, but it will be separated into its constituent ions.
Thank you. Any question from your side? When the solid waste is plastic,
When the solid waste is plastic, then this is a very ideal technology because whenever, majorly whatever waste we are creating or we are generating now it is majorly plastic. We have seen that. But what people are using, they are actually burning the waste, open burning. In that process, what happens? We are actually producing very toxic gases like dioxin, which I already mentioned, and that is actually just laid openly in the environment. Here, in case of this plasma reactor, whatever happens, first of all, the temperature is so high that whatever plastic materials or whatever organic materials you have, that is completely broken down. It is into its constituent elements. And now there is a limited supply of air or oxygen. So suppose you have broken down into carbon and hydrogen, all these elements, and you have limited supply of air, it gets partially oxidized to carbon monoxide. And carbon monoxide and hydrogen, that is a predominant composition which can be used as a fuel or syngas.
the plastic will not leave any slag anything.
No, slag only will be obtained if you have inorganic components. That slag.
What is the ratio of the volume ratio when you have input volume and the output slag volume? How much it is reduced?
Oh, sir, that I'm not very sure. That those technical details I
Because
give the person.
it's
Yeah.
also generating a solid
Yeah.
waste ultimately.
Because every day.
Is
what
that solid
happens-
waste more toxic than the one you are giving as an input?
Sir, I didn't get
The
it.
output solid waste, the slag that you are getting.
No. That is, I don't think
The
they
toxicity
classify as
level of
toxic.
that?
No, they have not actually mentioned
Has it
anything
been
about the
tested
toxicity.
anywhere?
Because there are widespread literature reports that they are using this slag as construction materials. So I don't think that it will be toxic for the environment anymore. They're using for low-grade construction works like pavements and sidewalks and all these things.
So those things will leach when water will fall on that.
That is one problem. That is there. So some
more
things need to
toxic
be
than-
taken
yeah.
care of because even people who are working with arsenic, so you have this arsenic filters everywhere. Even CSI CMBI will also manufacture. The problem is what you do with those filters after its lifetime is over. Okay, so one possibility is that I think IIT Kharagpur one professor is also working for the last 10 years. But he is also saying the thing is whatever you make out of it, it will leach. Ultimately, it will leach toxic. So that is again going back into the environment.
That's the problem.
So that is a problem. Problems do remain. But something is better.
not the
this is
complete,
better.
yeah, I think
More
so.
efficient.
I
actually.
think so.
One more question, please. Solid waste management has been a biggest nuisance to the northern countries like India, Bangladesh, Nepal, even more poor countries like poor countries in the African continent. Okay. So how is it cost effective? Is it cost effective?
No, it is not at all cost effective. That is why Ambani and others, they are not thinking about it. And it is not that easy. But once you can, if you actually take care of these intricate details or these technical details, I think it will become more feasible. Right now, it is not in that stage because India had one in Pune right now, but they are not able to harness power from it. Okay, they are just burning the waste. They are actually just gasifying the waste, but they are not able to harness the power from it. In Japan, one plant is there that is fully functional. I think if you look up in the net, you will find only around 5 or some plants like that which are functional globally. So, but it is a technology, it is a promising technology. In Chandigarh also something is coming up all this time. Okay, they have asked for bidders. And that is why on the pilot scale actually CSI, CMEI on a tasting basis, they have installed this. So daily input will be like 150 kg of waste, they will collect it from the domestic premises and from the office premises. And whatever output comes out, they will actually display us. We also come to know whatever is happening. So in that way, it's good.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Told that Naguma torch is powered by electricity or radio frequency. What is that radio frequency?
Radio frequency source. Sir, radio frequency source, they will be using like magnetrons or something that I am not very sure because right now this one is powered by DC. That is one possibility, but here whatever they are using that is a
Radio frequency magnetic.
yeah. That becomes even more costly. So actually we are trying to make something where power consumption should be less.
Madam, I have a question.
Yes.
The plasma temperature is very high, almost around 10 Kelvin like that, degree Celsius. সেক্ষেত্রে তো তাকে আমরা কনফাইন করতে পারি না নরমালি যেটা হয়, বাট এখানে যে ওই ফ্লেম থেকে বলা হয় যেটা আপনার আলটিমেটলি যে ফুয়েলটা আমরা পাচ্ছি সেটা তো বেসিক্যালি আর প্লাজমা নয় তাহলে
সেটা
সেটা তো আর প্লাজমা থাকছে না
না ওটা প্লাজমা না ফুয়েলটা তৈরি হয়
নরমাল হাইড্রোজেন
হ্যাঁ হাইড্রোজেন
তাহলে এই টেম্পারেচারটা কিরকম হবে মানে
টেম্পারেচারটা মানে যেটা প্লাজমা যে ফ্লেমটা আছে তার থেকে কম হবে কিন্তু যথেষ্ট টেম্পারেচার হবে মানে এত হাই যে আমরা ওয়াটারকে স্টিমে কনভার্ট করতে পারবো ঠিক আছে
সেক্ষেত্রে নরমাল পট ইউজ করা যাবে সেটাই আর কি
না না ওর আলাদা মেটেরিয়াল
আমাদের রান্না নরমাল হাঁড়িতে মানে
না।
থাকে না সেটাই বলছি ঠিক আছে ভেরি গুড থ্যাংক ইউ
Thank you very much, Kia Madam, for your beautiful lecture. I was hearing a similar lecture as I can just that. Use of plasma for waste management. The next speaker is Dr. Chandana Singh. She will be delivering on land use for land cover change. She takes the number for NC Deva block, Darjeeling district, a case study. I will invite Dr. Chandana on the dais.
Very good afternoon to all. Today, the topic is what to do that is the topic is land use land cover changes of functional block of Siliguri subdivision of Darjeeling district by district remote First, we have to know what is land use and land cover. Land use refers to the uses the land serves soil, vegetation, etc. The study of land use, land cover of any region is important to understand the land use planning and to understand the uses and distribution of land of that area. The use of land is affected by various socioeconomic factors, and the changes of land use depend on the need of the man. Now, the objective, next slide. The objective of our study is to analyze the spatio-temporal changes in land use land cover of the study area between two time periods. One is 1991 and 2010, and also to find out the reason behind the change. We have chosen Fashidao block. This is a block of Pilibhit subdivision of Darjeeling district, which consists of 7 gram panchayats. For this study, we have selected Landsat image of 1990 and Landsat image of 2011. The imageries first we have downloaded from the USGS, that is United States Geological Survey, Earth Resources Observation and Science Center. After downloading the images, we process that image under the digital image processing, and we have employed the supervised classification. In supervised classification, we first we have identified some training areas by choosing some similar samples. Then we employ the maximum likelihood algorithm to detect the land use types in Yerdas Imagine 14%. Here we have used the software that is Yerdas Imagine, and the person is 14. Finally, we got the 5 land use classes, that is these are agricultural land, forest land, tea garden, built-up area, and river and water body. Then we have prepared the map for 2 time periods. One is 1990 and another is 2011. And then we compare the 2 time periods map and categorical change obtained, and detect the changes in land use categories over the 20 years from 1990 to 2011. Next. This slide shows the specification of satellite imagery data, that is the Landsat 7 Enhanced Thematic Mapper class. This slide shows the land use classes. I have already told that we got the 5 land use classes here. The first one is agricultural land, which refers to the land which is used for growing food, crops and fibers. Forest land, this consists the areas with evergreen trees mainly growing naturally in the reserve land. It also includes the any legal enactment or administered as forest, whether state-owned or private. Third one is tea garden. This class of land use refers to the land with tea plantation. And built-up area, it includes commercial, any type of commercial, residential, industrial and transportation infrastructure. And the last category is rivers and water body, which describes the areas covered with water either along the riverbed or man-made features like dams, big sand dams and ponds. This slide shows the area statistics for the 7 Gram Panchayat, Bidhannagar 1, Bidhannagar 1, Chorthai, Bansgaon, Kismat, Khushbupur, Jalas, Nizamtara, Bidhannagar 2, Mashidao, Bansgaon and Helpuri, Shingithora. This area statistic is for the time period of 1990. Next. And this slide shows the area statistics for 2011. If we look into this slide, then it is clear that the area coverage under agricultural land is decreased over the 20 years time period in all GPs. And in case of forest land, and this decrease is compensated by the increase in the area under built-up area, forest land, and built-up area, forest land and tea garden. Because it is clear from the slide that the area under forest land, tea garden and built-up area, all the GPs shows the increasing trend. The increase in forest area coverage is in these GPs is due to the implementation of the afforestation work by joint block office and subdivisional office. An increasing trend in area coverage of tea garden is observed due to the conversion of agricultural land into the tea plantation properties, because farmers are now shifted to the tea plantation. From this they get the better benefit. Built-up area has been increased during the time period. We have already seen the percentage that shows the increasing trend in all the 7 GPs. This land use has been come from the land use category of agricultural land. This indicates that the population of this region is increasing day by day, and the area covered under the river and water body has been decreased due to the gradual conversion of the water body area into the built-up area of human developmental purpose, as the population of the established area is increased significantly in the past decade. This is the pictorial representation of Jalas Nizamtara block. I have already discussed. Next. Bidhannagar 1. Next. This is the map of the time period of the Gram Panchayat of Chorkar 5 block. Next. This is the pictorial representation of Khoshpur GP. And this is for Bidhannagar 2. And the last one is Pashidawa Vashgaon. This is the last one, Yeshmuni Shingidora. All are done with the help of the Yadas Emerging 40%. All these takes protection. In conclusion, we will say that the 5 category of general land use has been delineated, and significant changes have been took place in the case of agricultural land, as all 7 GPs are shown the declining trend. This reduction in agricultural land is for the conversion of agricultural land to the other purposes like forest land, tea garden and built-up area. And in this block, built-up area is gradually increasing during the study period due to the significant increase in population. And last, we can say that the management of land is almost important to us, to city planners and policy makers as the process of urbanization.
Any question? স্টুডেন্টরা প্রশ্ন করো।
আমরা Thank you for this. Just a tiny question. The usual trend for the built-up area normally it goes up. But in this one area, I think Khoshpur, the trend is that built-up area has gone down. Is that any specific reason? I mean, is it too crowded already? I don't know.
Which percentage?
I think Khoshpur. Bidhannagar, I think Bidhannagar. Bidhannagar 2.
Built-up area 9
Usual trend is upward, but in this case it's a downward trend. So is there a specific reason?
change. Next. ওখানে একটু টাইপিং মিস্টেক হয়েছে মনে হয়, কারণ all the area coverage for built-up area shows the impact. কারণ predominantly agriculture area ছিল পাশাপাশি ব্লক।
তাহলে তো ভুল দেখেছি, বিধাননগরে মনে হয়।
Sir, one more question.
সফটওয়্যারে তোমার সুপারভাইজ আর আনসুপারভাইজ দুটো ক্লাসিফিকেশন করা যায়। তো সুপারভাইজ আমরা করে থাকি, কারণ ওটাতে সাইন্টিফিক আমরা কি বলবো ওটাতে ভালো হয়। বিধাননগর ওয়ার্ড আমি ওখান থেকে পিক্সেলগুলোকে আইডেন্টিফাই করে এই পিক্সেলগুলো মানে হচ্ছে তোমাকে আইডেন্টিফাই করতে হবে এগ্রিকালচার ল্যান্ড তো আমি দিয়ে দিলাম তাকে ম্যাক্সিমাম অ্যালগরিদমটা দিয়ে দিলাম যে তখন ও কি করলো ওর ওই সেম পিক্সেলগুলো যেখানে পাবো সেই এরিয়াটাকে এগ্রিকালচার ল্যান্ড করে দিচ্ছে ঠিক আছে এইভাবেই আর কি। মানে পুরো সফটওয়্যারই আর কি।
So one more question. Since I am from Darjeeling, so while traveling from Darjeeling to Siliguri, I have seen many places. The thing we are talking about, Fasida, which is very near to Siliguri, city centers, all these things. The urbanization process in Siliguri is in rapid process on the cost of environment. So my question is on the context of sustainability. On the context of sustainability, the urbanization process which is going on, uprooting many tea gardens. You've seen that. I think you will. Yeah, definitely. There are many tea gardens which has been uprooted. The minority rights, the indigenous people who are living in the rural area, the lives they have been uprooted. You've seen this. So, what on the point of sustainability, what is your viewpoint? Is the urbanization good? Is the urbanization process in Siliguri, which is going on in rapid process, on the cost of environment?
Urbanization, we can't stop the urbanization, but we should keep in mind in the progress of urbanization कि sustainability को maintain किया जाए. In Matigara almost urbanized because nearness to the CBD, Siliguri CBD area. But Fashidawa started to get urbanized, not fully urbanized now. So agricultural officer they try to give the incentive to the farmers to keep their as they don't move from their native places to the urban places.
I mean, we've come to know that there is no much enough compensation given to the agricultural land holders. They've been shifted, the policy makers, it is the apathy from the policy makers as well. I'm supplementing their answer as well. Apathy from the policy makers, you know, that industrialization, big corporates, builders are there. So it's in other way harming the environment, the land use being misused.
They are trying to keep the farmers as they stay their place by giving their incentive supply of pesticide.
Because they will have
Thank you, Chandana Madam, for your lecture. Yeah, it is a matter of concern, but this data is 2011, it's old data. It can be repeated. What is the condition now? Isn't it? What Pawan sir was saying that the construction process has been going very fast nowadays, isn't it? So what is the impact? What is the population density over there? What is the economic status? What that has been changed? That should have also have been considered along with that, so we can understand. Yeah, that will help us to understand the situation. Dr. Shilpi Shaumandal, she will be delivering lecture on synthesis of silica nanoparticles assisted by an eco-friendly microbiological approach. Welcome, Shilpi Madam, over here.
So, good afternoon, everyone. The topic I choose today for delivering my lecture, my work, is bio-inspired silica nanoparticle synthesis, characterization, and application. Okay, the term is bio-inspired. Today, the conference is based on the sustainability or sustainable development, green environment, green technology. So, biologically provoked mineralization is very much commonly related with a variety of bacterial activities. Nowadays, maybe virus, some good virus are there, bad virus are also there. So here I done my work on a very good bacteria. Though, but biologically, if we see the bacterial activities in the environment, they form a different sediment. The spatial properties and the function, this is the property of biomineralization. These properties and functions of the process, the biomineralization process, has inspired many researchers to innovate or to synthesize the new material for sustainable development. Okay, so next slide. So I choose silica nanoparticle. Okay, change photo. Okay, next one. Okay, here is the bacteria. This is a non-pathogenic thermophilic and anaerobic bacterium, PKH1, and it used for synthesis of the silica nanoparticle, and we used. So we use this process. This process is basically used the systematic presentation of this nanoparticles using bacterial template. We use PKH1 stain and we put one precursor both using organic and inorganic. Here we use tetraethyl orthosynthet TEOS, one of organic precursor for synthesis of the nanoparticle successfully. Next slide. So this is one of AFM study or images of bacteria which actually is increased or roughness reflecting on the silica deposition over the bacterial surface, which actually conclude the fact of the one of the silica biomineralization on the surface of the bacteria. Next slide. Okay, this is the same images which actually confirm the size of the nanoparticle which is done by FESAT, and another one is the index images which actually indicate the two peaks of the silica and oxygen which can be attributed to the strong two images of the silicon dioxide formation. Okay, these two are the first one is the FDR study which actually tells you the successful, these are the tools actually used for characterized by different techniques for the comprehensively whether it is formed or not. But in both the cases, whether FDR or XRD, we confirm it that it is silicon dioxide will form. So these are the HRT images of my bacteria as well as the sample. stable and is usable for possible application in future in various biomedical different instruments. So next, these are some applications of the particles. Next, these are some, so skip this. These are the so this is one of the photographic images of how the it look like the ball formation of the silicon dioxide nanoparticle. Okay, that's it. So thank you all. This is actually I have made so many slides, but it seems that I got few minutes. Yes. So thank you all.
Do you have any question?
Yes.
What are the main applications of this type of silicon nanoparticle?
Actually, silicon dioxide had one of UV visible means fluorescence emission property.
Okay.
This because we made the bacteria protein, so I think the silicon dioxide on the surface may be the protein attachment. So due to that things, it will have special quality of fluorescence. So that graph I have, but fluorescence property you can use it for the biomedical any instrumentation or
So you have conducted HRTM study. What is the size of this
25 nanometer.
25 nanometer. Have you studied the size dependent property of the silicon nanoparticles?
Yes.
Have you studied the size dependent property?
Size dependent property, no.
No. Okay. Why specifically have you chosen bacteria for synthesis of this nanoparticle?
Because in our laboratory,
You have lots of bacteria.
Yes, yes, we have only bacteria and the protein. So that is the things. No other things are there. So so we only have two things. And another thing is that that the bacteria has special quality of leaching of silica. From any if you have a detector orthosilicate or any it have a leaching quality of silica from directly. So you can use the leaching quality to this way. That's the thing.
But BKH1 is which bacteria?
This is a special Bockescher one. So that actually only
That is not
present
the
in our
name of, that
laboratory.
is the strain name. What is the bacteria?
No, sir. This
BKH1 is the name of the strain because it has been isolated from Bockescher.
Yes, sir.
Bacteria is something different. What was that? It may be Bacillus, it may be Escherichia
So
coli.
Firmicutes.
Firmicutes.
I don't know, sir, because this is a biological term. I don't know because I'm from physics. So I think
One group of Firmicutes bacteria.
yes, Firmicutes.
The name is not known exactly.
No, name is
Firmicutes is a group. It's a division of bacteria.
no, sir. The bacteria.
Gram-positive, it looks like Bacillus.
Bacillus. The bacteria is isolated from the Bockescher that hot spring, and then we have to isolate it particular for this bacteria, the particular bacteria in our laboratory, in a particular.
You were saying the nanoparticle is coated with the protein. Is it like that?
No, sir. Protein actually helps to synthesis the
Protein induces the fluorescence
Yes.
property.
Protein not. Protein is maybe protein will on the attachment on the surface of the.
That's what you say?
Yes, yes,
That
sir.
means protein is attached with the silica nanoparticles.
Yes, sir.
You mean to say that?
Yes, sir.
Have you seen the protein quality or
Protein
whether
actually
protein is
we got
present there or not?
the peak from the FDR study. The protein peak contribution from the FDR study. That
If I
is
clearly say the protein is present or not, you can detect.
amine group are there on the sample.
Silica.
Yes, sir.
So your EDEX data doesn't show that.
It is only you can get the silicon oxide amine
EDEX
group.
will show the all the elements. No?
So that the hydrogen also there. So then that
The
will not
hydrogen should
show.
also-
But the maximum value will be coming from the contribution from silica and oxygen. Maybe
should
other
be-
hydrogen are also there, oxygen, other contribution also there, but the maximum
So
peak
heavier elements will be more prominent actually.
Okay, nullify করে দিচ্ছিল ওগুলো চুজ করেন ঠিক মানে
মানে যেটা পার্টিকুলারলি
যেটা
দেখতে
maximum,
চাই
হ্যাঁ,
সেটাই
সেটা-
বলা হয়।
সেটাই দেওয়া হয়।
না আমি ইন্ডেক্স করেছি কিন্তু ওর মধ্যে সবই চলে আসে
সবই চলে আসে, সবই আসে। স্যার ইভেন যে চ্যাপ্টার উপর আমরা করি কার্বন চ্যাপ্টার উপর সেই কার্বনের ভ্যালুটাও
ওটাও
আসে।
চলে আসে
সবই চলে আসে।
ব্যাকগ্রাউন্ডটা কার্বন রিমুভ করতে হবে।
হ্যাঁ, 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 হ্যাঁ।
কিন্তু নাইট্রোজেন আছে তো আপনি রিমুভ করবেন কেন? এটা তো আপনার ভালো কথা। আরো তো বলার মতো কথা যখন আপনি বলছেন যে ওটার জন্য
আমি
টুরিস্ট
অ্যাকচুয়ালি
প্রপার্টি
দেখতে
আছে।
যে প্রথমে নাইট্রেট মানে যেটা সিলিকন ডাইঅক্সাইড ন্যানোপার্টিকেল সিলিকন ডাইঅক্সাইড ফর্মে পাচ্ছি কিনা মেবি হয়তো প্রোটিনটা অ্যাটাচ আছে সেটা হেল্প করছে টু মানে স্টেবল করার জন্য আমাদের সিস্টেমটাকে
Thank you very much. We will have a last lecture now. Amitabh Bharat of Economics Department. Topic of heat stress response in plants. Oh my God. And its implications for sustainable development. My God.
এটাই ছিল।
ম্যাডাম দেখলেন যে সমিতির মধ্যে প্রশ্ন করছে ওটা নিয়ে জিনিস
Today my topic is sustainable development and women, a dream or reality. We all know that after some years, United Nations for Development Program, that is UNDP, focuses on different goals for the whole world, and they set different goals to be achieved after some years. And the last goal was set in 2015, that is Sustainable Development Goals. And at that conference, there were 17 goals to be achieved by 2030. And one of them, that is the fifth goal, was the promotion of empowerment of all women and children, girl children, and gender equality, which should be achieved by 2030. We all know that women play a vital role in managing natural resources like soil, water, forest, energy, etc. And if we look around us, there are different instances success of it. But at the same time, they face different types of discrimination in the socio-economic aspect. To measure the gender gap, the World Economic Forum publishes Global Gender Gap Report from 2006 to 2021. They have tried to maintain it, but some years there is a gap, and 2019 there was no report, I didn't find it. So I have based my report mainly on 2020 and 2021. Global gender gap is measured by economic participation and opportunity, second, education attainment, third, health and survival, fourth, political empowerment. Here, one is the main factor of this measurement of this index is that the main factor is that here they are not measuring what is the level of education of men, what is the level of education of women, or what is the level of health benefits provided to women, and what is the level provided to men. It is not that. They are trying to measure the gap between them. It is the main focal point. In the 2020-21 report, India was 140 of the 156 countries they considered, and it is an issue of worry that India slipped 28 places from the previous years. Now, if we consider the only South Asian countries, that is they consider, that is we, India, Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, and there is Pakistan, there is Afghanistan also, and only Pakistan and Afghanistan are behind us. And all these 6 countries are much ahead of us. Okay? Now, if we consider individually the achievements, in educational attainment, the rank is in educational attainment, the rank is 114 of the 156 countries. Please keep it in mind, 156 countries, and in educational attainment, our position is 114. In health and survival sub-index, the rank is 155. That is the second last year. Okay? The third is economic participation and opportunity. India is among the bottom 10 globally. And last but not the least, political empowerment and index, the rank is 51. Although the number of women ministers have declined by 13.5% from the previous year for India. But it is to be noted that for India only, all the indexes are bad, but participation in political empowerment is good. That is, their rank is better respect to other countries, since there are many countries in our world till now where there is no participation of women in politics and parliament. Next, if we consider the Global Gender Gap Report of 2020, we will find that India ranks 112 in among the 153 countries. That is, in 2021, 3 more countries were added for consideration. And in 2020 report, we can see that India has slipped by 4 ranks from the previous one. And I have already said that there was no report in 2019. The previous report was in 2018. If we consider economic participation and opportunity rank, the rank is 149 among the 153 countries. That is, it is very bad. And educational attainment, the rank is 112. For the health and survival, the rank is 150. Again, it is very bad. For the political empowerment, it was 18. But still, in 2021, it was worse than 2020 for India. Now, if we consider the South Asia as a whole, then we can make a rank between these 7 to 8 countries, okay? But something to be noted here that Iceland is the most gender equal country for the 12th time in 2021 also. South Asian countries include, I have already mentioned, this year 2021 Afghanistan is added among the South Asian countries. In both the reports, if we consider 2020-21 reports, Bangladesh stood first in this region. Pakistan maintained status quo, but there is a 7th position among the 8 countries. There is in the 7th position. India declined by 2 positions from 220 to 21 among these South Asian countries. In 2006, when the first study was done, India's position was 98 among 115 countries. Okay? So, we are till worse now. Okay? India has eradicated one good thing to be noted. All these are bad. One good thing to be noted, that gender gap is completely eradicated. Gender gap is completely eradicated in the primary education and the secondary education. It is only the positive side. And all over the world, India is the only country where the economic gender gap is greater than the political gender gap. So, our next policy issue, and I have next slide. This is the chart I have made to show the position, and the bar diagram here does not only doesn't tell us the improvement. It is the just opposite. Since the position and India's position was 4th in 2020 and it is 6th in 2021. Bangladesh, Nepal and Sri Lanka have maintained their position for these 2 periods. But India has declined. Only India has declined. Please note that. In every respect, the gender gap, total gender gap. So, our policy should be first and foremost to improve the health condition and to reduce the gap between the men and women from the perspective of the health issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Amrita, for drawing the attention of the House to what is, I think, a matter of extremely great concern. This is a presentation that we all, I think, could really relate to. A question, a very fundamental question is, in spite of the fact that our performance has been appalling, to say the least, this gender gap does not seem to be part of the mainstream political agenda of any political party in this country. Even if, let us say you and I, perhaps most of us here, live in a state where the most dominant political party is led by a woman. There are many such states in India, but it is completely absent. Why do you think this is true? And another, related idea perhaps would be, you told us that Iceland has been the best for 12 consecutive occasions, and I was reading that there is also this which city is the happiest place to be in, that kind of survey. And for many years, Oslo in Norway, the capital of Norway, which is also a Scandinavian country very close to Iceland, that happens to be the first. So, when men and women are equal as they should be, we also build a happier society, isn't it? But in our country, it is completely absent. I mean, without this presentation, perhaps most of us, certainly, I to an extent, would have been completely in the dark about, this thing. So why does this happen that it's not there at all, visible in our country?
One of the main reasons I think so, that is our India is highly populated country. And that is the main problem, the main concern, that if the population cannot be dropped back, then it will be a very great challenge for us to achieve different targets for us. Since it is highly populated, moreover, I have one personal opinion to say. That is, in this report, it is reflected that how many women participate in politics or there in the parliament. Since we think that if they are there, their voice can be raised. We think so. But if we go to the is there, but at the back of them, the male population of their families are talking. They are not actually talking. Since they have no idea what to say, they have no thought process how to say. So actually, see, although it is showing that politically we are in the political empowerment we are better from the all other aspects. But I think so for India also, I don't know of other countries, but for India it is only a misnomer. Any more questions?
My question is like we know that you said that it is all about the not only about the political decisions and the side of the policymakers who are reluctant on making good policies and laws on women's empowerment, but I feel that there are certain. My question is it only the political system or the policies made by the government, or is it there are several factors like cultural diversities, different languages we have, caste, religion. There are so much of aspects, cultural diversity aspects, which the government cannot penetrate, where the education cannot penetrate, where the science cannot penetrate, because they have their own laws, own cultural laws. Like say for example, last time there was a Chhath Puja, and there was a mic everywhere that this time Chhath Puja should be celebrated inside your home, because the corona is going on, the pandemic is going on. But most of the people came outside, came out in the ghat, and they assembled in huge number and celebrated Chhath Puja. They believe that religious law or religious practice is more important than the present pandemic. So this kind of narratives we have basically in our Indian subcontinent. So is this the factor? These are also the factor. Are these the factors where the gender gap in present society or the present scenario is moving more and more?
Yes, that may be the reason, but I think so that it can be eradicated only giving the education and science can eradicate it. That if science teach them properly, if they are properly educated, that what is culture, the culture should be there, and it should not be mingled with the science. Corona cannot be gone away through some cultural etc. etc. Then only we can achieve our target. But I think so the target is very difficult for us to achieve.
That is not right. Every target is difficult. So if you say a target is difficult just because it's a woman's issue, then we are just telling ourselves that.
No, I am not telling that only it is difficult.
No,
I am not telling that.
But I think it's easy because it's logical to think of another human being as your equal. It is only because we have been conditioned to think that men are superior to women, that is why this entire question arises. Because it is only logical, it is only scientific to think of another individual as equal, as not less than you. Only when you are conditioned will you think that I am better than the other person. So it is actually easy, it is actually logical, it is actually scientific to think of another individual as someone whom you should give equal respect and honor. That is very easy to do, that is a logical thing to do. Only because of our conditioning, social, cultural, religious conditioning, do we do the opposite. That is what I think.
Basic thing is this: when you go towards the marriage, when we're talking about your children, your kids, marriage, and all that. If it is boy, then if it is a girl, then you will be finding a boy with a good job. लड़का का अच्छा नौकरी होना चाहिए, तभी होगा. लड़की का नौकरी तभी भी चलेगा. ये तो हो जा रहा है. ऐसा नहीं हो जा रहा. क्या ऐसे लड़के हैं जो जॉबलेस बच्चों को शादी कर सकते हैं? कोई नहीं. अगर ये हो जाए तो फिर बात बराबर खा हो जाएगा मेरे ख्याल से, है ना? तो टाइम कनेक्ट হয়ে গেছে. সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ. পুরো সেশনটা মন দিয়ে শোনার জন্য. দারুণ সেশন হলো. নেক্সট সেশন 4টার সময় আবার তোমরা এখানে অ্যাসেম্বলড হয়ে যাবে সবাই. আপনাদের সবাইকে
Nandal.